Good morning, good night everybody. It's time for economics. Let's talk about equilibrium. 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 When we have equilibrium in the market, we just call it market equilibrium. So, what is market equilibrium? Market equilibrium happens when we have 100 customers and 100 suppliers. Or the customers want 1,000 toothbrushes and we supply 1,000 toothbrushes. It's exactly equal. And at that point, the price and the profit is maximized. So, at equilibrium, the company makes the most money and the customer gets exactly the quantity they want. There's no waste. And that is supply equals demand. Remember, supply is the customers buying and demand is the business selling. So it's equal and profit is maximized. Now, what happens? Remember the financial crisis? The financial crisis? Well, what happens in a financial crisis? You know, is there market equilibrium? I mean, you have selling, 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 selling. Is that market equilibrium? No. When the selling, 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 selling bottoms, and then it reaches a point where it's stable, that is market equilibrium. Now, why did the financial crisis happen? Well, people say in the government that it was caused by market failure. Market failure. The government says that the market failed. The private sector failed. Now, this, of course, is a lie, because the cause of the financial crisis was two things. Number one, the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is the bank that is not owned by the government and not owned by the people. Who knows who owns the Federal Reserve? But the Federal Reserve prints all of the money and creates all of the debt that society owes. So the Federal Reserve printed so much money and so much debt that people and government could not afford the interest payments. So what happened then is it sucked all of the money out of the private sector. The second reason of the financial crisis was caused by a thing called peak oil. Peak oil. What is peak oil? Well, peak means the peak, the top, and oil is oil, petroleum, diesel. What happened was in July 2008, the conventional production of oil peaked and then started to decline as the cost of production hit $140 a barrel for oil sands and deep offshore drilling. And that caused, it caused so much money to be sucked out of the system and into oil production that the entire system started to crash with all of the debt that was created by the Federal Reserve. And those are the two reasons of the financial crisis, not market failure.